This investigative programme contains graphic descriptions of violence and themes of loss and distress, which some viewers may find upsetting. Tonight, the new series True Life Crime investigates the most harrowing mysteries, rocking headlines and social feeds. Young lives gone too soon. Their deaths were shocking, and haunting questions remain. I'm True Life Crime UK correspondent Linda Ade, and I'm here to join the dots and expose the truth. Saturday, June 2nd, 2018. In the quiet streets of Ipswich, a young man is suddenly attacked.
I couldn't have even imagined that I was going to lose my son that day.
17-year-old Tavis Spencer Akins is found on the street, dying from multiple stab wounds.
I honestly just felt so sorry for him.
His friends and neighbours are in shock.
The community fell apart. Even people who didn't know Tav fell apart.
No one understands why such a popular young man was so brutally murdered in broad daylight.
Could this have been a robbery? Could this have been a targeted attack? Was it just that Tavis was in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Ipswich, a market town surrounded by a countryside, far from England's big cities. Yet it was here that a savage crime took place in 2018, which made headlines across the country. Tavis Spencer Akins was attacked and stabbed in what the police have described as an act of extreme violence and cowardice. 17-year-old Tavis was stabbed to death for no apparent reason early one evening, heading off for his dinner. It's not the sort of place that you'd associate with the brutal murder of a black boy, but it's where Tavis lived and died, and where most of the clues will be found. How could this apparently senseless murder happen? I'm heading to the Ipswich suburb of Nacton to find out more about Tavis from his friends and family. And no one knew him better than his mum, Sharon. Sharon, thank you so much for meeting me today. I just want to know more about Tavis. What was he like as a child?
Tav was very boisterous, loud, but loving, sweet boy.
Clap hands. Yay, good boy.
He loved music, he was really sporty, loved all sports, football, basketball, swimming, tennis.
Wow.
Finish now, Tav, finish! Yeah, Tav, well done.
I've heard that Tavis was quite a big boy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was really tall. He'd stand in a doorway and he'd just reach the top of the door.
Really?
It's ridiculous, yeah.
You really light up when you speak about Tavis.
Yeah, I was really proud of him. Yeah, I really was. Very proud of Tav.
Throughout his childhood, Tavis was closest to his twin brother, Tyler.
Yeah, he played pranks all the time on me and my mum and stuff. Yeah, it's just, yeah, he's just really, like, in your face, I guess. Yeah. We would argue a lot and, like, get into fights a lot, but we still, like, love each other and stuff, you know, like, still had, like, that kind of brotherly bond.
At 17, Tavis was starting to plan his future. He'd left school, tried building work, and was thinking about going to technical college to learn a trade. He also had a wide circle of friends.
You'd always make sure you're doing the right thing. That's always one thing he'd add to his sentence, is it would either be roll safe or stay in school.
He was just always laughing, making people laugh. That was like one of his best traits, I think, just always making everyone smile.
He was, yeah, always smiling. The guy was strong. If he saw you struggling with something, he'd, you know, help lift your shopping into your house. There's a lot of people that can vouch for him and say that he was a good lad.
He was big feet, you know, so he was a gentle giant.
He was huge, but he was kind as anything.
So why would anyone want to attack this gentle giant? On the evening of June 2nd, 2018, Tavis was on his way to have dinner at his dad's house, not far from where Sharon lived. What do you remember about the 2nd of June, 2018, that day?
I was talking to my sister on the phone. We were making arrangements for Jamaica for the holiday for the boys' 18th. Tav was so excited, he couldn't wait. And then I put the phone down to her. Within 5-10 minutes, she phoned me back to say that he'd been stabbed. Just screamed. And we just got in the car, we got down to the scene so quick. There was loads of people, just crowds of people. The road was all taped off. There was police cars everywhere. I said, Tavis, I'm here. Mum's here, I'm here. And he lifted his head up and he looked for me and we made eye contact and I said, I'm here, son. It's all right, I'm here.
He looked into your eyes?
Yeah, he did. But then, not long after that, he went unconscious.
Tavis's injuries are horrific. Air ambulance medics operate on him in the street to keep him alive, then rush him to hospital.
The doctor came down to the family room and he asked me to sit down. And I screamed in his face and I said, no. I said, I'm not sitting down. And I said, is my son dead? And that's when he said, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Box. And I just fell to the floor. I just fell to the floor. I couldn't have even imagined that I was going to lose my son that day. No.
I want to get to the bottom of this mystery. The pathologist's report shows that Tavis was stabbed 15 times, including a fatal injury to his heart. I need to know what the police found out in the vital minutes after Tavis was attacked. Detective Chief Inspector Mike Brown, who led the investigation, has agreed to take me to the murder scene.
So, Mike, I'm trying to get a sense of what you know about the 2nd of June 2018. What happened?
I received a phone call in the late afternoon to say that there'd been a stabbing in Ipswich, that it wasn't looking good. The victim, Tavis, was in a very, very serious condition.
It's a short walk from the shops to the crime scene.
It was here?
Right here. So this is where Tavis, as he saw people coming towards him, had tried to run. And we believe he stumbled here, and this is where he was set upon.
Can you describe to me what you saw?
There is some blood on the street. We've got a broken bottle over towards the bollards here. But then as I look down towards where the trees are is where all of the medical attention to Tavis was given. So whilst he was attacked here, he'd managed to get up and move and desperately tried to get home.
This is a very residential street.
Yep.
There must have been witnesses, surely.
Yeah, there was. The initial report we got was that a van had driven down Queensway and then driven into the road here. So it was a courier van that they saw. The van pulled up just short of here, and then a group of males got out, ran towards Tavis and just set on him.
What are some of the early theories that you're thinking, you know, like what could have happened to Tavis?
Could this have been a robbery?
Yeah.
Could this have been a targeted attack? Were they here looking for him? Could it have been mistaken identity? Was it the fact they were looking for somebody, thought it was them and that's the case? Was it a random attack? Was it just that Tavis was in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, so those are some of the early theories that you...
Some of the early theories we have to prove, disprove everything.
So the first theory Mike considered was robbery. Could that be the case? Tavis's dad, Neville, and his partner, Helen, may know. They live just meters from the murder scene.
Hiya. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Neville.
Hi.
Thank you for letting me come to your house today. Can you take me through the events of that day? Like, what you remember?
Tavis has come back here for dinner.
Yeah.
So I'd left here to go to the Kentucky, which is like 15 minutes away. Got to the roundabout up here, and he was standing in the corner with one of his friends. He waved. I waved.
Yeah.
And I headed off.
Right.
I didn't even go out of the car. Helen was ringing my phone. I thought, oh, she's obviously wanting more food because I know he loves to eat. He'd eat my plate, your plate. He'd eat everybody's plate. But it was all screams and crying, and Helen said that Tavis had been stabbed.
What do you remember then, Helen?
I looked out of the window and I see Tavis holding on the fence.
Just here?
Just there, just behind you.
Yeah.
And he had like blood coming from his head. I ran outside and I kind of grabbed hold of his hand and I said, "You'll be all right, I'm gonna get help." But you kind of see he was getting a bit weaker. That's when I see them doing CPR because he went into cardiac arrest.
Did Tavis have anything missing? Was any of his belongings gone?
No.
Because the police actually checked his bag and everything that they left here with that day.
Yeah.
Was still in his bag.
But he didn't have nothing missing on him.
No.
He didn't.
Nothing was gone?
No. No.
So I can rule out robbery as a motive, but that just makes it even harder to understand why such a popular and likeable young man was so brutally murdered.
Is this the kind of thing that would happen around here? Do people normally carry knives?
No one really does. You know, they don't bring their knives to their fights.
I'm investigating the murder of 17-year-old Tavis Spencer Akins in Ipswich. Police know Tavis was set upon in the street by a group of men, but they don't know who the attackers are or why Tavis was their target. One initial police theory is a mugging gone wrong, but his family say nothing was stolen, so it seems unlikely.
I wanted to know if anyone had seen anything before Tavis was attacked. I tracked down Daniel, who lives in the area.
We're meeting at the local shops on Queen's Way.
Daniel, thanks so much for meeting me today.
Sorry.
Daniel was Tavis's friend and the last person to speak to him before he was attacked.
I was coming over the shop to get some stuff for me and my mum, and I just saw him outside the co-op entrance, and we just
literally right here?
Yeah, there. We just spoke to my mum and that, made sure me, my mum and the kids were all okay, my sister's kids. And yeah, then that's it. We started going with respect and we just went off.
Did anything seem different about that day? Did he seem like he was troubled by anything? Did he have an argument with anyone?
Nah, it was just the normal sort of day in, you know, Queensway. It's just normal.
And then that's it? He didn't say anything else about any beef he was in or nothing at all?
Not really.
So Tavis didn't seem to be expecting any trouble that day. I need to go further back, so I've reached out to another of Tavis's friends, Dean.
Dean, I'm trying to make sense of why Tavis would be a target for anyone. Would Tavis be the type of person to get into an argument about a girlfriend?
No. I don't think he'd fight over a girl. A lot of girls like Tavis.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't go to the extent of fighting someone over a girl. You know, he just think it's pointless.
So he never got into any fights?
He wouldn't go looking for fights, but he wasn't one to back down from a fight either. But there was an altercation a year beforehand.
What altercation?
Where he got stabbed in.
Tavis got stabbed?
Yeah, he got stabbed in the side here.
Tavis got stabbed? Before?
Yeah, a year before.
So I genuinely wasn't expecting that. Tavis had been involved in a fight. He'd been stabbed a year earlier. Could that event have been linked to his death?
That's what detectives were trying to find out. I've come to Suffolk Police HQ, where Chief Investigator Mike Brown has agreed to show me crucial CCTV footage retrieved just hours after the attack.
So you can see Tavis there with his red sweatshirt over his shoulders.
That's him?
Yeah.
God, he's just the way they described him, isn't he? So tall.
Yep.
You can tell he's quite comfortable in his environment, very chilled and relaxed, actually.
That's a shop.
Oh, he's
it's
helping
a
the shop
delivery
owner.
trolley.
He just pulled the trolley up, didn't he?
Yeah.
That breaks my heart. You can tell that he's quite known in the area, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the fist bump, it's the hello, it's, you know, you can see how comfortable they all look. So as we watch this, what you'll see is him start to walk off down towards Packard Avenue, down towards his dad's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the last image we have of him.
Eyewitnesses reported seeing a suspicious speeding van and 2 cyclists.
And it's only about a minute later that we then see the van come through, and then you see a cyclist. And then you see the second cyclist.
Hang on, can we go back to that one? That's the van?
That's the van.
Hang on a minute, it's a marked van?
Yep.
A courier van?
Yep.
That's the van you're looking for?
That's the van we're looking for. So after we see the van come through, this is where our witnesses start to give us the what happened next.
Mike tells me the van races into Packard Avenue. A group of men leap out, attack Tavis, and seconds later, speed away.
It's over in moments. That gives us our start point. Who's in that van?
Mike's team searched the whole of Ipswich, checking every courier van that could be the suspect's vehicle.
As a result of that, around 3 hours later, we knew where it was.
Within 3 hours?
Within 3 hours.
Detectives then tracked the van's movements back to where it came from, to see if the bikes and the van are linked to each other.
This is before the attack has taken place. So you've seen the van go around that corner.
Yeah.
And this is what's crucial for us, because there's one.
There's the bike.
Yeah. And there's 2.
The same cyclists?
The same cyclists. What we've got them doing is meeting up.
So that confirms they're definitely part of the same group?
Absolutely, and then away we come. The first cyclist, the second cyclist, and then shortly behind them, what you can only just see is there.
There's a passenger.
You see the
There's someone in the passenger?
Yeah. And the person in that passenger seat has got a really distinctive top on.
Well, it's a white top with some sort of black.
It's got black detailing
logo
on
on
it.
the front.
And as we work back and go through other clips, what
Yeah.
we're able to do is get more and more and more similar clips.
Right.
Which, when you put them together, you get that better and better description. And you see that top there.
Yeah.
And how distinctive that is. In fact, both of the tops those 2 individuals are wearing.
Are you saying that's the same person?
That's the same person.
That's the passenger in the van?
It is indeed.
That is some solid police work. It's amazing they managed to get this crucial information just hours into the investigation. But who is this guy in the black and white shirt? Did he have some connection to Tavis's previous stabbing? And did those close to Tavis recognise him? I'm heading back to go see Helen and Neville.
If I can find some link between Tavis and his attackers, it would strongly suggest he's been marked for murder.
So I've just come back from speaking to the police, and they've shown me the CCTV footage. Inside the van, in the passenger side, there's this guy. And I just wondered whether or not you had seen or heard anything about this person.
No, we didn't, no. We didn't know who he was. We didn't know why he would want to hurt Tavis.
Nothing at all.
No, nothing at all.
There's no way that Tavis could have been mates with this boy.
No, because we kind of knew his friend. We knew his friends. Yeah, so it didn't ring any alarm bell or anything, no.
Yeah.
What about this previous altercation that happened where Tavis was stabbed before? Did you think it could be connected in any kind of way?
We didn't think anything like that could be related because Tavis was sticking up for one of his friends. It was his friend's argument. No,
Totally
it
different
couldn't
scenario,
be
wasn't
related.
it?
you
It was
know?
completely unrelated.
Completely unrelated, yeah.
Mum Sharon, his friends and the police also confirm he isn't the man who stabbed Tavis a year earlier. So who is he? And who are the other suspects? The mystery may be solved by Tavis's dying words.
You see, he said the J Block.
J Block had done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tavis said the person who has
yeah.
attacked me is J Block.
J Block.
I'm uncovering the truth behind the murder of Tavis Spencer Akins, a 17-year-old boy savagely killed by a group of men in the Nacton area of Ipswich. It seems Tavis may have identified the suspects with his dying breath.
Did anyone say anything about what it could have been? Or...
He said the J-Block.
J-Block had done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tavis said the person who has attacked me is J-Block.
J-Block.
Are you saying that Tavis knew who had attacked him?
He knew the group. Yeah.
This revelation, Tavis's dying words, is vital information for the police.
Now that, for us, was huge. We often call it a dying declaration, and for Tavis, it was the fact that there was too many of them, that he didn't have a chance, and that he mentioned the name J-Block. Having that allows us to start to focus on maybe where we need to start looking and who we need to start looking for.
I found out that J-Block are a group of young people known to the police who make music videos celebrating their illegal money-making activities. They're from a part of West Ipswich, centred on Jubilee Park. Tavis and his friends clearly knew about them, even though they're from Nacton, on the east side. But could J-Block really be an organised criminal gang capable of murder?
I'm on my way to meet Rico, a youth worker who knows the streets of this town and the rivalries that run through it.
He knows what it's like to get on the wrong side of J-Block.
Hey, Rico. Thanks for chatting to me today.
No worries.
What did you know about J-Block?
I knew that they were a formed gang.
They were a gang?
Yeah, I nearly come in with a couple of run-ins with them myself.
You?
Yeah. So which was, at the time when I had my kids with me, quite scary.
It's just so baffling to me, like, when I think about Ipswich, it just doesn't make sense. It seems like a fairly small town, like, even looking round, it seems quite nice around here.
I explain Ipswich as a miniature London, like, in the respect of the gang violence, the postcode wars.
But what has Tavis got to do with all of this?
It's because he lives in IP3, Nacton Estate, in Ipswich, which is also the home of Nino.
Really? So there was like a postcode war going on?
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
So this is new. Rico says the Nacton Estate was also home to a group linked to criminal activity. It's called Nino, or IP3, the postcode where Tavis lived.
It's making me question, like, do you think he was part of the Nino group?
From my understanding, no. You know, he weren't part of the gang. The people that he knew were affiliated with it.
So he lived in a rival area?
Yeah.
Wow. Just because Tavis was from a place where a gang was from, it doesn't mean he was part of it. Maybe he looked like another Nino gang member and he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Could he have been targeted? I want to catch up with the police. Where had they gotten to with tracking down Tavis's attackers? And had they found any links to J-Block?
Detective Vicky Mitchell has agreed to meet me in West Ipswich.
Well, Vicky, thanks for meeting me here today.
No problem.
Why are we here?
So right now we're in a play park that's now called Maple Park, but back in 2018 it was known as Jubilee Park and is kind of central to the area that we would know as J-Block territory.
This is J-Block?
Yeah.
Ah.
This just looks like a normal playground, not the kind of place a dangerous gang would hang out. But back in 2018, J-Block operated around here. I want to know if Vicky's team managed to link J-Block to the attackers. Was there any evidence from the van?
So, Vicky, what did you find in terms of forensics?
Within the van, we were able to find a spot of blood on the front passenger seatbelt buckle. Within the rear enclosure of the van, we were able to find fingerprints for one suspect and blood on the side panelling and fingerprints on a piece of plastic wrapping in the rear enclosure of the van for one of the other suspects.
There's quite a lot of evidence there.
Yeah.
And that blood, was that Tavis's blood?
No, it wasn't Tavis's blood. We found no link to Tavis inside the van. The blood was from the suspects. That blood was there from when they attacked Tavis.
It didn't take the police long to find names to match this forensic evidence.
Yang was in the front passenger seat, a male called Aristotle Yang.
So now the police have a name for the man in the distinctive black and white top.
And two others in their forensic linked into the rear of the van was Isaac Calver and Kyrese Davies.
Had they had any previous encounters with police?
Yes, they had. They were known to the police, and hence why we were able to locate their DNA was on the database, their fingerprints were on the database, so we were able to match those up fairly quickly.
Who are these people? What did you know about them?
We knew that they were associated to J Block.
Thanks to forensics, police are pretty convinced that Tavis's killers were J Block members. But I'm still no clear as to how Tavis knew them or why they want to kill him.
I'm not sure whether Tavis was caught up in the rivalry between Nino and J Block. And from what I'm hearing, neither were the police. I need to find the answer for myself, but it's going to involve some tough questions for his family.
Sharon, were you ever concerned that maybe Tavis was part of Nino, part of a gang?
This is hard because a lot of Nino, the boys that are in the so-called Nino group, Tavis, they're his friends and he went to school with them. So it's hard to explain. Right. It doesn't mean that he was a gang member.
While Mum Sharon is adamant Tavis wasn't involved in Nino, she explains he was becoming a handful as he got older.
When he sort of came into his teenage years, that he sort of, I think a lot of teenagers go through it.
How would you say it changed? In what way?
Started to become a little bit unruly. He was kicked out of the school that he was attending, Ipswich Academy. It sort of went downhill from there, really.
That's what you felt?
Yeah, that was what I felt. I looked at him one day and I thought, this is not my child. What is going on with him?
But the stabbing he survived a year earlier was a wake-up call for Tavis. A punctured lung and a week in hospital was enough to convince him to turn his life around.
He was distancing himself from certain people in his life that he didn't want to be involved with. Even though some of them might have been his friends, he was still trying to part ways. He was trying to make a change. He took a job with my brother at the garage and he was learning mechanics.
While the police investigation continues, the people of Nacton come together to show their respect at Tavis's funeral.
There was a lot of people at Tav's service. So I say service because I still can't even bear to say funeral.
All of his friends were there, all of the locals. The roads were just full, everywhere was closed off. We walked from Queensway all the way to St Augustine's Church.
I don't think he ever realised how much he was loved. So it was really, really nice to see everyone get together, and it was like literally everyone was supporting everyone.
I heard that there was around 800 people.
Everyone loved Tavis, so everyone had to be there.
He had a beautiful send-off and a beautiful service. He deserved that. I love you, Tav.
Tavis's death made a huge impact on the close-knit community of Nacton, and everyone was looking for answers. Just 2 days after Tavis was killed, the 3 suspects first linked to the van by forensics, Yang, Davis and Calver, were tracked down and arrested. They'd fled 20 miles away to Colchester in Essex. But could the police find the 2 other attackers? I'm going to meet Detective Vicky Mitchell again to find out.
One witness described one of the attackers as having ginger hair, and through intelligence work, through my colleagues, we were able to establish that there was only one member of J Block who had ginger hair, and we were able to identify him as Callum Platts.
Oh wow, so you had a name?
Yeah.
What about the 5th guy?
So we had some further forensic results come through that placed another member of the group in the back of the van through fingerprint evidence. We were able to identify those fingerprints as belonging to a male called Abadeo Amusa.
The suspects refused to cooperate with the investigation, so there's still much for DCI Mike Brown and his team to do to discover if Tavis was marked for murder.
So, Mike, you've got all this information. You know, you've found the van, you've seen the journey, you've built the profile of the suspects.
Yep.
But there's no motive.
That's the difficult part for us. We have to look and try and find why have they actually gone to these lengths to do what they did.
What did you find?
There was something that had happened earlier that day that we believe actually started this process.
What happened?
Davies and Yang were in the town centre and they were confronted by two members of IP3.
Right.
There was some shouting,
Yeah.
there was a bit of abuse being shouted between them.
Okay.
So Yang and Davies had to go and hide in a cosmetic shop.
They hid?
Yeah.
In a shop?
Yeah, a cosmetic shop. By chance we had a plainclothes police officer who was in the town, who came in and effectively disrupted it, took hold of the two that were from the IP3 side. Whilst he dealt with them, it was Yang and Davis who were the ones that ran away.
Are you kidding me?
No. It was a huge loss of face.
So they must have felt so disrespected.
They had to go and hide, but then they'd been rescued by a
police officer.
By a police officer.
Not what they would want.
Not at all.
It's crazy how serious things have ended, but it doesn't answer the question though. What has this got to do with Tavis?
At that time, we didn't know.
Had Tavis been involved in Davies and Yang's humiliation that afternoon? Or when they came for revenge, was he randomly chosen and they got the wrong guy? I'm investigating the murder of Tavis Spencer Akins. 5 suspects have been arrested, but they're saying nothing about the murder. Intelligence suggests they're all members of a dangerous local group known as J-Block. But the police need more proof to bring them to trial.
Thanks for meeting me again, Vicky.
No problem.
How were you able to connect all 5 suspects to that group?
The group J-Block released some music videos on YouTube, and most of our suspects appear in those music videos. So these are our 3 main suspects, Mr. Yang, Mr. Calver and Mr. Davies.
That's them?
That's them.
Well, there's no denying that they know each other?
None at all. The 3 of them are the main characters in the
They're
in
rappers?
the videos. They like to think they're rappers.
I mean, it does look pretty incriminating, but how are you so sure that this is a J-Block video?
So this is Mr. Kyrie's Davies.
Behind the scenes, all of that, you get it? He just fell into the door and that. I'm on J-Block and that.
So
He just said, I'm in J-Block and that?
Yeah, quite clearly.
So when was this video shot, Vicky?
This was actually shot the day before Tavis was attacked and murdered.
The day before these guys went out to kill a 17-year-old?
Correct.
And they're this happy in a music video?
Yep.
Literally from musicians to murderers. That's sick.
The police believe J-Block were out for revenge. Only hours before Tavis was killed, 2 of the suspects were humiliated by members of Nino in the centre of Ipswich. But did Tavis have anything to do with that?
We've spoken to witnesses, we know where he was, and we looked at all the CCTV cameras in the town centre for that day. Tavis isn't
He weren't
in any
there?
of the footage. No, he wasn't there.
Damn, Tavis wasn't even there. The mystery of why Tavis was attacked just seems to get harder to unravel. If he wasn't there earlier on at the gang fight that day, then why was he a target?
Just a week after Tavis was stabbed to death, the police make a crucial discovery. It turns out J-Block weren't the only ones making music videos.
So, what new evidence have you got then?
What we started to understand was the music videos that both sides were putting out. And what I'm going to show you is one of the videos. So there is Tavis, you just saw him there.
Where is Tavis? That's Tavis there?
Tavis.
Oh my God.
There again in the white shirt.
And this is Nino?
Yes. And this is the type of tit for tat. So they're over in the west, this is Jubilee Park, and they're spraying their tag, IP3.
In their territory?
In the JAILED territory. So that was actually the home address of Isaac Calver. And they've gone and they've done a video.
It's mocking them, innit,
It
basically?
is, yeah.
This is making sense now. So when they saw Tavis standing outside the co-op, they went for him.
They recognise him.
Jeez. This is heartbreaking. This is absolutely heartbreaking.
Had it been 5 minutes later, he would have been home.
Does this show that Tavis is part of this gang?
It shows an association, but if you watch it, he's never one of the main ones in it. He's always on the periphery.
Tavis wasn't in this gang, but he was associated to them. And he's lost his life for it.
Yeah.
Eight months after Tavis was killed, the suspects go on trial.
The trial was hard. Not only had we lost him, we've now got to go through this. I didn't want to be there, but I knew I had to be at the trial for my son.
The 5 defendants plead not guilty. They deny everything. It's a long and complex trial, lasting 14 weeks. For me, it all comes down to a crucial question. Was Tavis marked for murder, or was it random revenge?
Was Tavis killed because of a music video? Tavis isn't rapping in the video, he just appears to be having fun in the background repping his area. Even so, did this video make him a visible target?
The prosecution presents a compelling case. CCTV, music videos, forensic evidence. Each element links the suspects to Tavis's brutal death. While the barrister argues Tavis wasn't marked for murder, what the defendants wanted was to get back at the rival Nino group.
All of them were part of a rushed revenge attack in response to what had happened in Ipswich town centre just a few hours earlier. It was savage payback for what J Block saw to be the ultimate disrespect. And it was Tavis, 17, unarmed and innocently walking home, who paid the price.
You just show his face in a couple of videos, and he's died for that, has he? He's died for that. That is no reason to lose your life.
The jury are convinced. They find the 5 suspects guilty. Aristo Yang, Kyrese Davis, Adebayo Amusa, and Isaac Calver get life sentences for murder, totaling 90 years between them. The 5th suspect, Callum Platts, is found guilty of manslaughter and gets a 14-year stretch. The perpetrators never explained why they attacked Tavis, but Mum Sharon has her own theory.
Tavis was in the wrong place, wrong time. He just happened to be there. It could have been any one of him or his friends.
Do you think it was targeted?
Yeah, definitely. They came to the area to look for someone that day, yes they did.
Did they come to look for Tavis?
I don't think they came to look for Tav. I really don't. They were just looking for anybody associated with Nino.
This confirms what I feel. They were out for revenge. But unable to find who humiliated them earlier that day, they randomly picked on Tavis, recognizing him from one of the videos. It's 3 years on, and while it doesn't get any easier for Tavis's family, they're determined to make something positive out of this tragedy by creating a foundation in his memory.
It's called Tav's Life, and we raise money.
Okay.
And then we give it to other charities in his name, because he'd be proud of us for that.
That's amazing. I'm sure he would. Of course he would.
He'd just be proud of us for doing that and keeping his name alive, and he'd want us to help other people.
And as the Ipswich community came together, local group Brotherhood composed a tribute to Tavis.
This one's for Tav. Tav's life, and everyone has gained an angel in these mad times. This is a celebration, not a bad vibe. Put your lights in the air, let the man shine. Tav's life, and everyone has gained an angel in these mad times. Gone too soon, didn't have a chance to make mistakes or choose a path for him to take. Young black king, anytime I passed him, he was safe. He was just a kid though, that's hard for me to say, but he's probably up there just grinning. Still see your flowers by the tree. I just hope there's powers in my speech and the younger kids listen, cause you won't want a life if you're stuck up in prison.
Sometimes it doesn't really feel real. I expect them to see him somewhere, you know, like on the street somewhere, like at a football pitch or something like that, you know, like, yeah. It's been hard.
Everybody loved Tav to bits. Obviously, everybody says he is the gentle giant. It won't be the same now Tav's gone.
Everything that everybody said about him was all positive. Devastated. Totally devastated. But the Lord called another angel. That's all I can say.
Tavis will always make you laugh. He'd always be smiling, and he'd always take the mickey out of me.
I was still thinking he's gonna start walking down the road with his big feet and his big smile, and I was gonna see him, but obviously not.
Anyone would have loved him if they got to know him.
I'm meeting Tavis's mum, Sharon, for the final time.
Still heartbroken. People saying, oh, you know, it gets easier in time. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It gets harder every day. I wish I could have him back. I miss him. I just feel cheated. He was cheated out of his life. We were cheated.
How do you want Tavis to be remembered?
I want Tav to be remembered as a kind, caring boy, a loving person, loyal, happy. He had a good heart. He had a good heart. Yeah. That's how I want him to be remembered.
This case raises so many issues. Knife violence is deep-rooted in communities across the UK. It isn't just a London thing. And the same goes for gangs.
What shocks me the most is that such a trivial loss of face has led young men to commit a violent killing. It's just such a waste of a promising life.
Tavis was truly a gentle giant, a friendly kid who didn't get the chance to grow up. He got caught up in the crossfire simply because of his postcode. He didn't deserve that.
If you've been affected by any of the issues mentioned in this programme, please head to our helpline page.